By Precept consultant representing BJU Press Homeschool. I've been a homeschool mom for 7 years and I currently homeschool 3 boys. Today I want to tell you a little bit about English 5 3rd edition. Here's the teacher edition for English 5 3rd edition. It actually has a part 1 and a part 2. The first half of the chapters are in part 1. The second half of the chapters for the course are in part 2. When you flip it open, you'll immediately go to a contents page, which has an introduction and some materials that you may want to read through before you begin teaching the course. Then it goes right into the chapters, and you can see chapter 1, sentences, chapter 2 is a writing chapter, chapter 3, nouns, chapter 4, verbs, writing a book review, etc. So for the most part, it alternates between a grammar chapter and a writing chapter. As we get into examples of each of those, I'll show you some other details about what is included in those. Next, you'll flip to some pages on how biblical worldview shaping is included in English 5. Some information on technology, and then things that are specific to this particular edition of English 5. You can review about the teaching cycle that's used, which is engage, instruct, apply, assess. And you can look at some highlights of the chapter features that you'll see. You can then see in greater detail the specific chapters for grammar, as well as the specific chapter features for writing chapters. And then as we flip on over, we see the lesson plan overview for the first chapter, which is sentences. This is what your lesson plan overview will look like for each of your chapters in this course. You'll see it lists the teacher edition pages that will be used and the student work text pages. You'll see objectives, resources, and assessments for that full lesson. And then it goes on to the next lesson. So you can see at a glance what you're looking at for that particular chapter. And then as I flip the page, this is a continuation of the lesson plan overview for chapter 1. The end of each chapter will include a chapter review, a chapter test, which you'll have in your test packet, and a journal exercise for all grammar chapters. Let's look at what a typical lesson would look like. This is lesson 1 for chapter 1 on sentences. And so you can see you'll always have the objectives, the biblical worldview shaping, printed resources, digital resources, and an overview to get you started. You'll work through the content. There's the mentor text. And then this page right here is going to show you what the student work text page looks like. The front of the student text work page is generally going to be something that you'll do together as guided practice. And then the back side of it is something that you would assign as independent study or homework. And then it goes on to the next lesson, which is lesson 2. So I'll just flip through a few of these here so you can see some examples. When you get to the end of each chapter, of course, there is a chapter review. You'll have your test, and then this is one of the journal exercises since it is a grammar chapter. Now let's take a quick peek at what one of the writing chapters would look like. Again, you have the objectives and introduction material. You have a mentor text. Usually the first couple of lessons in a writing chapter will go over some basics about the particular topic. And then you'll get into the actual writing process. Usually there's about 1 step each lesson in the process. So planning, drafting, revising, proofreading, and of course your final copy. At the end of the writing chapters, there's a reflection writing activity. And then a cumulative review, which you will actually see in every chapter after chapter 1. And that's to keep all of the content, all of the things that they've learned fresh in their mind. At the end of each teacher edition, you'll see a handbook with a thesaurus that's used for the course, as well as some informational charts. This thesaurus and charts are also found in the back of the student work text. So there's the thesaurus. These are some of the informational charts. Then I also wanted to point out that there are also rubrics in here for the writing assignments to help you in your assessment and feedback and grading process. Now let's look at the student work text for English 5. Let's look inside. You'll see when you open it up, it goes directly to the first chapter, first lesson. And these are the same pages that you are seeing from the teacher edition. And as mentioned previously, for example, in lesson 1, the front page would be something that you would do with the student as guided practice. And then the back page for the lesson would be done independently. And then you're moving on to lesson 2. So you can kind of see how that works as you go through the particular lesson. When you get to the end of a chapter, you'll have the chapter review. The chapter test will be something that you will get out of your assessment packet. And then, since this is a grammar chapter, you will have the journal activity. We can look now to see what one of the writing chapters would look like. It's usually some introductory lessons, and then it's going to walk through lessons on the writing process of planning, drafting, revising, proofreading, and final copies. And then since this is a writing chapter, it'll be a reflection activity. You will see in every chapter after chapter 1, there is a cumulative review before you begin the next chapter to keep all of the concepts and skills sharp from all previous chapters. And then it goes into the next chapter. As mentioned previously, the students also have the thesaurus and the reference charts, just like I showed you in the teacher edition, so they can use that as a help. There's only one student work text, and this will include all of the lessons for the full year. The final piece that you'll have in your textbook kit is the assessment packet and the assessment answer keys. In this assessment packet, you'll have one review worksheet that can be used with each lesson, and these are just optional if your student needs additional help on any particular concept. You can use all of them, you can just use some of them, whatever you like. This also includes quizzes that you can choose to use. And this is also where you will access the chapter test for each chapter. Answers to the assessment packet will be in the assessments answer key, and you'll also find rubrics that you can use. I hope you enjoy this English 5. If you have any questions on this course or any of our other BJU Press courses, feel free to contact a Homeworks by Precept consultant. Thank you.